everyone here and their families during this holiday season. We ask you, God, that the gun violence stop. But God, show us even how to help in the situation of stopping the violence in Ypsilanti. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Derek Jackson. I have the pleasure of really facilitating the community violence intervention team. And so my role here tonight is just to give you just a brief history of really why we're here, what this mural represents, how it got here in the first place. So the community violence intervention team came together about 2 years ago, and we really just wanted to do something to stop the death and loss of young people that kept happening in our community. We'd all been working in our silos, thinking we were doing good work, but we were still losing young people. And we came together one Tuesday or one Thursday, and we met and we started having a good conversation. It was really a grieving session that first time around. And we met every single Thursday for well over a year, and we came up with this idea of hope that if we did these 14 things, we really believed that we could end gun violence here in Ypsilanti, Washtenaw County. And one of those 14 things, after talking to some young people who happen to be here, was we need a safe grieving space to remember, not to glorify violence, but to remember those young people we had lost. And as we were having that conversation, like the next day or 2 days later, a young man named Deshaun, who's right over here, wave your hand, Deshaun. Deshaun drew in his notebook this beautiful black rose you see depicted behind me, with the names of the folks we had lost over the last 14 years as part of the rose. And then for the next several weeks, Deshaun and an adult artist were out here painting this. So it's been about a year, a little over a year. And we had envisioned that this was going to be a small group of people who would kind of kick this off and do an unveiling of just the family members of people who were on the wall. But as Deshaun was working on the mural, people would come by and they would see what he was doing. They'd take pictures. They'd want to touch the name or touch the wall. At one point, there was a young person who was just an infant who can't remember her father, whose name unfortunately is on the wall, and she just wanted to touch the wall and take a picture. And by the time we actually unveiled this, it went from a small group, maybe it was supposed to be the size of today, to this parking lot being full of people. And you may not know it, but some of the names on this wall, there are families who've murdered other families from retaliation. Someone has murdered them, but yet they were able to be in this parking lot together on that day to help to grieve and to hopefully heal. So what we want to do is to not forget, to say the names and to remember. And so thank you for being here tonight. Tonight is just about remembering. Thank you.
So Derek just mentioned those 14 recommendations, and I want to take a moment to highlight one of those recommendations and to illuminate. And it's our 4th recommendation of engaging with folks who have been impacted, not only with compassion, but with accountability. And I've been impacted by gun violence, and there's many folks in this space right now who have personally reached out and shared support. And from that, I was able to share support with youth that I work with as well. So I'm going to pause right there and let Tavon and also EJ come up as well to talk about how they have been impacted and what they've been doing in a positive way for the community as well.
Hi, my name is Tavon. I recently lost my brother to gun violence about 2 years ago, 2021. And, it was hard, but we ended up getting through it, and I really just want to make a change in my community right now. And this is a great way to make that change and to cause a chain of effect to go into place. Yeah.
So just to summarize it, the importance of being in community and supporting one another of having that support system, of having a space like this to grieve, and also providing other options for folks that are facing violence as well. So I do want to take a moment to shout out the folks who are part of the CVIT team, or the Community Violence Intervention team. So if you've been partaking in those meetings, if you could just raise your hands so we can all see, and let's give it up for them. Okay, I'm gonna have Billy Cole.
Hello, family. My name is Billy Cole. I'm part of Supreme Felons organization, but yet I'm part of a community that I consider family. And everybody out here, I consider family. And in saying that, everybody's name on this wall is a part of our family. And even though this is a time of remorse and remembrance, it's a time to acknowledge the fact that our community is a family. And we have options out here. We have options in We Lives. We have options with our organization, Supreme Felons Incorporated, that there's issues in the family, if there's issues outside the family within our community. We would hope that you contact us and allow us the opportunity to bring some type of resolution before we have to come to this type of setting. I'd like to thank God, and I'd like to thank each and every individual out here that took the time to show themselves at a time of need. Happy holidays to everybody, and God bless you all. I'd like to bring forth Mr. Derek Jackson, our upcoming new sheriff, and Brian Foley, who is a vice president of Supreme Felons Incorporated.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
As Mr. Cole just said, I'm Vice President of Supreme Felons Incorporated, nonprofit violence intervention organization. And our primary mission is that no more names be added to this wall. I'd like to read some names. Donald Ray Hall, Kenneth Jackson, Anna List, Jamar Gardner, Chris King, Brandon Charles, Demetrius Reed, Edward Winter, Keon Washington, Derek Allen, Keandre Duff, Darius James, Eric Hargrove, Alicia Tomlin, Wesley Skinner, Zachary Curry, Jordan Clee, Nita Battle, Deshaun Jones, Alan Severovich, pardon me, DeAndre Willingham, Dominique Lee, David Sloss, Kevin Eubanks, Louise Rivera Estrada, Brandon Cross.
Kiefer Johnson, Kelly Campbell Brown, Darlene Johnson,
Robert Powell, Chris Marsh, Kevin Eubanks Jr., Marquise Gillespie, Brian Matthews, Andre Smith, Solomon Brown, Marcus Mackey Jr., Sonny Green, Reed Carter, Henry Ross, Arthur Ellerson, Antonio Bishop, Von Craddock, Arshawn Evans, Zaire Willis Wilson, Laronte Binion Phillips, LaRon Henning, Larius Dottery, Sean Longoria, Marissa Edmonds, Terrell Smith, Deshaun Patterson, Danelle Conda, Jermaine Deshaun McClendon Dinsmore, Dallas Williams, Tyrese Burks, and Darian Taylor.
I invite you to join me in a minute of silence. Precious evening, everyone. I see our youth over here, so I'm gonna pick on our youth. If you could come in front here and form a circle right here, if you're under the age of 20, just kind of spread out over here in this middle and form a circle. Y'all know how to do restorative, so form a circle for me. And then our adults, if you can wrap behind the kids. Once they form that circle, we need you to lock arms, adults, around those kids. Form the circle. If you need to spread it out, spread it out. But we need a circle. If you're under 20, you should be in that inner circle. If make room for new people now. And then our adults, we need you to wrap around those babies in that circle. Okay. And so this is a space where we're gonna kind of deal with some forms of processes that we've had to have dealing with grief and loss. I know that we're all here because we represent some point or some type of identity connected to the individuals on the wall here. We understand that with grief and loss, we know it's a process of life, right? But when you have unexpected loss, it hits different. And so I want to take this time, instead of reading to you, I am a clinical social worker, but instead of reading to you what grief and loss should look like, you all know personally what this feels like and what it looked like in your world. And so what I want you to do in this inner circle, I want you to reflect the names on the wall. I want you to reflect the relationship that you had with those individuals, whether it be, a friend, a brother, or you're just a community member, or you went to school with the individual. But I want you to reflect and think about ways that you have grieved since that person's been gone. And so I'm gonna give you an opportunity, because you're going to teach us grown-ups, and you're going to share, to put some normalcy to those around you of what you all were feeling, but you were possibly isolated, or people possibly didn't know what you were going through on the inside. People possibly don't know what you're going through right now. And so we're going to give this opportunity for you to give voice to some of those interruptions that have taken place because of violent acts within our community. And so, right here, I just want you to go ahead and just state your name, state your relationship to any member on the wall, and if you're a community member, just say community, okay? And then say one way that that loss has impacted you, okay?
My name is Quentin Mallett.
Here, I'm sorry.
My name is Quentin Mallett. I'm a community member in sadness. My name is Sir Halsey. I'm a community member and also grief.
My name is Tavon Allen. I'm a boss. I go his name on the wall. His name was Zaire Wilson. But I grieved by overworking and just like isolating myself. My name is Ramses. I'm a community member, and while I didn't know any of these people, I feel sorrow and an increased passion for advocating a change into the community.
My name is EJ. I'm a community member. How it's impacting me is that I grieve that knowing that someone that was around my age is like, it's grieving. It's really hard to know that somebody like just like me, ended up getting killed, easily just gone, their life taken over from them. It's difficult.
My name is Deshaun Chambers. I'm the creator of the mural. One way I was dealing with grief or dealing with death was giving them a spot in the community with this.
My name is Alexis Chambers. I'm a community member. It's sad. There's all these people in here. I was like 16 or like 13. Yeah.
My name is Kelly Davis. Sad. I feel bad for these people. Wish them my name is Sarah 18. I'm a community member, and I wish them good luck.
I'm Jordan Dorsey. I'm a community member, and the only thing I just feel here is just shocked. It's people both younger and people both younger and age. Unfortunately, passed away.
especially so.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And so our adults that have formed that outer circle, you heard our babies speaking to us. You heard our future leaders speaking to us. They're sad, they're angry, they want change. They're willing to advocate. They're healing by overworking. And I can attest to that. You can look to the left, you can look to the right, nobody. And so you gotta keep moving. But I want you young folks to see the outer circle. These are people who have experienced some form of grief and loss. These are people who are advocating for change. These are people who do not want to see you sitting in anger, sitting in frustration, okay? They want to be able to help you. They want you to help us. We cannot do this without you, okay? I'm so glad that you young folks came out, but we can't do it without you. So thank you, especially you young man. Thank you. Right now, we're going to have Ms. Carla come up. We heard that a lot of young folks in our circle are community members, and we thank you for that. The names on the wall, just like when you throw a rock into the ocean or into a lake and you have that ripple effect, that's what we're experiencing when community is impacted by the names of the wall. But I'm gonna bring up someone from the community who has been impacted in every level by the names of the wall. And she's gonna share her story with us real quick.
Good evening. My name is Carla Whitsick Green. I have been impacted by everyone, maybe about 5 people on this wall. Most of the kids on this wall, they have been in school with me. I've had called them sons. I have called some of them daughters. It hurts me to my core right now. I'm sitting here trying to it's a feeling inside of my stomach is hurting, my heart is broke. And I tell y'all, half of these kids on this wall, I'm in pictures with. These are kids. And it hurt. Hurt people hurt people. Broken people break people. Everybody's family is impacted when it comes to violence. Don't nobody win. The person that got killed and the person that did the killing. It hurts. It even hurt me even more. Because my son got shot dead in 2016. His name would have been on this wall. But God, he got shot in the left frontal lobe of his brain. You know where he was at? He was at Keon 1 year homegoing. They gave him a party. They all drinking, doing teenage stuff. He was on the passenger side in a car with 2 boys and 2 girls. A girl was driving, my son was on the passenger side. In West Willow, a girl in the back on the driver's side and a boy on the passenger side. 3 young men, which I used to call my kids at school. They was my kids that shot my son in his head. They was at Keon's homegoing party. They all went to the cemetery, did what they had to do. They came back to the house. All of them getting drunk, doing whatever they was doing. Celebrating his death. I didn't know that it was going to be my son next. I pray and I trust God. It was always a gut feeling in my stomach that one day, Carla, if your son don't stop hanging out, he was going to be murdered at the age of 18. My son got shot in the head. He was 22. At Keon's, once again, 1 year of being dead celebration. Nonsense. It's nonsense. I got the call. It's not a call that the mother wants to receive. It's just not. So I got up. I got to West Willow. The ambulance haven't even made it yet. I'm running down the street. Officer Richardson grabbed me. I looked over and I saw my son like this. I don't even remember nothing after that. I remember waking up in a car going to the hospital. The officers greeted me. It's a homicide. That's what they said. Said it was a homicide. And I'm like, no. God, please don't take my son. My pastor, Pastor James, she gave me the hospital. It was like a circus, y'all. It was like a circus. There's so many people out there. I'm like, it was unreal. I would have sat in the car, and I remember Peaches putting a church song, and she set the phone on my chest. I was sitting there, and I was just praying, like, God, I know you love me. I know I'm your favorite. Please don't take my son. And if you take him, Lord, please don't let him be handicapped. Lord, because you know what I can bear. I have other kids. I cannot bear it, Lord. But if you take him, Lord, just give me the strength. Because I trust you. I trust you. A girl named Kim, she knocked on the window. She said, Pastor here. She wants you to go. Come in. I got in there. My pastor prayed with me. She said, Carly, you trust God? I said, yes, I trust God. She said, well, trust him. They came to the door. They said, we need you. We pronounced your son dead. So me and his father and his father's wife, we go into the room. It seemed like I was walking on air. So I got in the room. And I turned around and said, my son not dead. I want him to move right now. I want my son to move right now. If he did, still move him to university. Please, please, please. So I'm having a panic attack. And I'm begging him to move my son. His father and his wife was in the room. And my son whispered in his head, don't cut off my shirt. After they had pronounced him dead, anybody know if you dead and you lose oxygen to your brain, you will be brain dead. The doctors came out there talking to me and said, okay, man, we're going to move your son to U of L. I said, thank you. Because if he was going to be dead, I wanted him to just die at U of L. So they moved him to U of M. The whole circus moved to U of M. So the young man that shot my son, I'm close to their family. Because everybody in Dixon is related some type of way. So nasty people are like, girl, such and such up here. You know, that's her nephew. Girl, this and this. That's her son that did that. I'm like, listen, leave. If you for garbage. Because right now, my son needs prayer. And he needs prayer like never before. So if you know somebody's praying, call them and please tell them, pray for my son. I didn't have time for no mess. The police came at U of M. They said, ma'am, this is a homicide. They was ready to close the case. They told me everything, and the guys that they heard that did it, they said, you know anything? Your son got beef with any of these kids? I said, No, everybody is really truly related. Eric, Hagro, is gonna be my sister, fiance. They knocked on her door and shot him in his head. That was going to be my sister's husband. Marquise, my student. Sonny, my son. Andre Smith, my son. All these kids grew up at Ypsilanti Community Schools. They encountered me. I fed them when they came to school. I gave them encouragement. I even prayed with them. Not thinking they're gonna be praying for me one day, because my son was in a predicament. I want all y'all young people to continue to advocate for change. Continue to pray, because my God is an awesome God. He's a miracle worker. Trust God. My son is alive and well. My son will be 30 on Christmas Day. When he talk, if you see him, because they cut his head open, they removed some of the bullet out of his head. There's still fragments of the bullet in his head. They flipped the skin down. They took his skull out. They flipped the skin back up, sewed his head together. He came home in 1 month. He had plenty of therapy, all types of appointments, but he came home with a helmet on his head. August the 15th, he went back under the knife. They put the skull back in his head, and they put bolts and screws to hold it together. My message is, stay strong. Please, please, please advocate for one another. Thank you.
Just want to thank you all again for coming out and, for stories and your reactions to the mural is important for us to keep the fight going. Miss Green is still serving in, the community schools. She's been serving for over 23 years. Although she went into detail about her son's miraculous recovery, she was still called into the room of our shop. So she had to go through that process again. And I think as community members, we go through this process over and over again. And the more you're connected to the youth, the more devastating it can be. I walked in with her to go see one of my students down in a bed. And unfortunately, his story was not the same. But she had to relive that. And so, as we sit here with our community, as we sit here with those who are mourning loss, and as we're standing for those who are not here, who are not present, who may still be experiencing great depression and complicated grief, we must still stand united. We must still offer up a listening ear. We must still pay attention to those around us, because there's things that are going on inside of individuals that can eat them alive and cause rage, frustration, and anger. And so we just have to be mindful of that, okay?
My name is Roland. My name is Roland Tucson, and it's a lot of people on this mural that I know, my family, people I went to school with, people I know through other friends and all that. But it's one story that I want to give y'all about. Top left corner, Donald Ray Hall. It's my cousin, right? And one of the clearest memories that I have of my cousin is when he graduated high school. Now, we at EMU Convocation Center, before it was George, and we at the top row, right behind the stage. And as soon as they called his name Donald, everybody around us saying, "Go DJ, that's DJ," right? And when we got the call that he was missing, his car was missing, all that, and we ultimately got the call that he was killed, we all pulled up to the house. And mind you, I'm about this tall. I don't really know what's really going on, but I know something bad. I see my nephew, who's even smaller than me, running around crying. I see my sister-in-law running around crying. Her sisters running, everybody. And it didn't really hit me. I didn't really understand what really happened until I got a little bit older and I started reflecting back. And one thing that I will say that I'm grateful for is that I have that memory of seeing that man walk across that stage. But one thing that makes me unsettled is that my nieces, my nephews, all of y'all, right? We have to go, all of us, we have to go through this world where we don't know what's gonna happen in the next 20 minutes, the next 5 minutes, the next second, right? So each and every day, I pray not only for myself, but for everybody here and everybody around us, that we get to have that guard around us, that we get to walk through the next door, go experience the next step in life and all of that, because I don't, like everybody said, I don't want to see no more names put up here, right? I don't want to see no more names put up here. I don't want to see another funeral procession for somebody, for anybody, for that matter, right? But one thing that we gotta do, even though these loved ones, these friends, these acquaintances, whatever these people may be to you all, hold on, even though they're gone, hold on to the memories that you had with them. Whether it be the graduation, whether it be playing football, basketball, because I used to play basketball with Keandre Duff when we was in middle school. I played basketball with him a little bit. Those are the memories that I stick to. Even though the memory of when you got that call will never leave your mind, I try and use the good memories to lessen that pain. So just hold on to that and think about that. Remember the good memories, because even though they're not here physically, they still here in your heart and your mind.
Pray with me. God of love who sees us, God of hope who created us, God of life who breathed into us. Restore us, strengthen us. Make the power of these stories and the commitment of the children and the stories that no one even heard. May all of that strengthen our resolve to see one another, to support one another, to comfort one another, to remember one another as your children, now and always. Amen.
All right, I am Sharice Allen. I'm a part of the CVI team, and I'm going to ask all CVI team members to come and stand. All CVI team members to come on and stand. Gail, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Educate Youth. Thank you very much for coming out. We want to say, I just want to say, closing thoughts, that we have several programs, agencies, organizations in this community alone. Anything that you need, restorative justice, wraparound services, therapy, anything with intervention, we have it here. Corner Health Center, Supreme Felons, Hope Clinic. We have Darnisha Green, who is on our team. We have the Sheriff's Office, who does work up there with those who have been, We Live, all of that. We have Mama Flo back here with Sure Moms. We have services. It's up to you to reach out. We are here to do the work. We want to do the work. As Carla said, we're family. All of us are like 3 degrees away here in Ypsilanti. We are family. We love each of you, everyone, all of our youth. And we're asking you to take a stand, to advocate, to stop the violence, to say no, to intervene, and stand on it, and stand on it. We are family. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. That's the only thing that there is just too little of. We, Community Violence Intervention Team, want to thank you for joining us tonight as we give honor to those who have fallen to gun violence and remembering those who are still here. Grief is real. There's no time limit nor timetable. Grief is real. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Have a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Give a hug away, give a smile away. Tell somebody that you love them. All right.